It was a rainy afternoon when Emma wandered into a dusty little antique shop on the corner of Maple Street. The shop smelled of old wood and forgotten memories, and every shelf was crammed with odd trinkets. But one thing immediately caught her eye: a beautiful dollhouse. It wasn't just any dollhouse, it was her house. Every detail was perfect, from the crooked shutters on the upstairs windows to the chipped paint on the porch. Her stomach churned as she leaned closer and peeked inside. There were tiny furniture pieces arranged just like in her own home. But what froze her in place were the tiny figurines. One was sitting at a desk, her red hair pulled back in a ponytail, just like Emma herself. Another was a man slouched on a couch, staring at a miniature TV. It looked exactly like her husband, Mark. "That's weird," she muttered, her voice trembling. The shopkeeper, an old woman with a crooked smile, shuffled out from behind the counter. "Ah, you like it, dear," she said in a voice as thin as paper. "It's one of a kind." "Where did you get this?" Emma asked, her eyes glued to the dollhouse. "Let's just say it found its way here," the woman said cryptically. Emma bought it on impulse, unable to shake the eerie fascination it held over her. She brought it home and set it on a table in the living room. That night, after dinner, Emma noticed something strange. The figurines had moved. The tiny version of her was now standing by the kitchen window, while the one that looked like Mark was lying face down on the floor. "Did you touch this?" she asked Mark, her voice sharp with unease. "Why would I?" he replied, barely looking up from his phone. The next morning, Emma woke up to find the dollhouse figurines rearranged again. This time, her tiny figure was lying in bed, and Mark's was by the front door, its arm raised as if reaching for something. She felt a chill run down her spine. Shaking off her nerves, she told herself it was just her imagination, or maybe a prank Mark was playing. But that night, the dollhouse took a darker turn. The miniature Emma figure was now in the bathroom, lying in a pool of red paint that hadn't been there before. The tiny Mark figure was gone. Emma's heart pounded as she checked the real bathroom. Everything was fine. Relieved but unnerved, she decided to get rid of the dollhouse the next day. At midnight, Emma woke to a strange noise, a faint scraping sound. She followed it to the living room, where the dollhouse sat bathed in the dim glow of a streetlight. The figurines had moved again. Emma's was now in the living room, standing next to the dollhouse, and the tiny Mark figure was back, but it was outside the house, lying in the front yard. A cold dread filled Emma as she turned toward the front door. It was open. And on the porch lay Mark, motionless, his arms stretched out as if reaching for help.